So I sold it to my buddy for like 10K because I was like, I just need to get rid of this. I kid you not, like a couple months later, they were going for like 20.
But you overall like the EBC brake?
Oh, I love the EBC pads. I tried CSG pads, so I liked, actually surprisingly, the OE pads on this thing were really good.
So on a stock form,
yeah,
it makes about 450 to the wheel.
450 wheel. I have a whole conspiracy theory I can go into about why it weighs so much. The feeling from a very analog car to this car is like exceptionally different. I'll say at the limit, it's a very reassuring car. So it's funny that this is basically an M4 parts car. So M3, M4 came with lithium-ion battery. This comes with a normal battery.
I see.
Okay, that came with forged wheels. This came with cast wheels. I think they could have made this 150, 200 pounds lighter. Yeah,
I mean, the seat is only $20, Fatima.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, it's like the tune for this car is like $30. You know what I mean?
All the M colors on it, huh?
Yeah, it's a little bit much. You know what I mean? It's like, do we really need that much M? It's like we get it. You know, like we get it. Like nobody's like confused. I want to apologize to everybody that sees me on the streets. I'm just super lazy, and I go to the track so often I leave my numbers on it.
Very cool car.
Thank you so much.
What's up, guys? I'm here with JP Holland. Nice to meet you, JP.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks for coming out, coming to see the car, and yeah, can't wait to talk trash on the heavy car.
What year is this?
So this is a 24. I got it in December 23, but it's a 24 M2.
Brand spanking new, pretty much.
Yeah, and beat the crap already. I think I have about 8 to 10 track days on it so far.
Nice.
And yeah, it's been good so far. It's hard to mess up a new car, which is nice. So yeah.
How did you get into cars?
Growing up, my dad was a BMW enthusiast, which is why I have the sickness of liking really expensive cars that break all the time and have oil issues. So my dad was like really into like BMWs. He was really into tracking, just loved it, right? Growing up, he was like a gentleman driver, did some open wheel stuff, crashed a million cars, eventually kind of was looking for his passion, started an auto shop in Venice, California called Omega Motorworks, where they worked on like, you know, M cars. And then eventually later in life, he co-owned TC Klein Racing, or was a partner of TC Klein Racing, doing coilover kits for BMW, Audi, Porsche, all that stuff. Growing up, my dad would always take me to the track and never let me drive, which was probably really smart because of my impulse control issues. And so I spent a lot of time at like Thunder Hill, Laguna Seca, Willow Springs, and I was always able to like, you know, kind of hang out there and like I get like ride-alongs with them. I ended up having a 2013 Mini Clubman S, and I took it to Streets of Willow, and I just smoked the tires. I was like I must have been like a 255 lap. It was like the worst thing in the world, and I just had the biggest grin on my face going so slow, you know what I mean? After that, I took a couple years off. Unfortunately, Dad passed away, and he had a 2013 Mini Cooper GP.
Which is that one,
Which
right?
is this one right here, yeah.
That's awesome.
Was using like Toyo R888 tires, so I was like, that's a fast tire, right? Knew nothing about kind of anything about tracking, right? And eventually, over a series of time, I started going to a lot of Speed Ventures events, and then got in touch with kind of a lot of the Beamer Challenge guys, probably 2022, and that's why I started really getting like the bug, because you know, you kind of think you're fast until you have guys that are like really into it and you can kind of compare yourself to, and I was like, oh, I'm really slow. Like I'm like very, very slow, and yeah, that's kind of been my journey into tracking and stuff. So
awesome. I know that before this car you had an E92.
Yeah.
Was that your like main track car that you owned?
Yeah, so my car history is a little weird. I had so I had the Mini, and I would like go to the track a couple times, and then I ended up getting a 97 E36 sedan, and that was like, all right, I'm gonna actually kind of like do this, because this car like already had the coilovers, it already had like the intake, like everything was done to it, and since it was my dad's car, I didn't want to like mess with it too much because of that sentimental value. It's like, all right, like it's kind of like a capture in time of like my dad, because it was my dad's favorite car, the GP. So I was like, let me get an E36. Let me see like what this rear wheel drive stuff is about. And I got it, and I had no idea what I was doing. Like I basically bought the car sight unseen for like 15K. It was an East Coast car. The subframe was rusted out.
Oh,
like
no.
it was everything. The clutch was going. I was like, oh, these are simple problems, right? Like I had no idea what I was doing. And that was like probably 2018-ish. 2018, yeah, around 2017, 2018. Got the car, modified it, and then the worst part is I sold it right before the E36 bubble. Like whenever that was, so I sold it to my buddy for like 10K, because I was like, I just need to get rid of this. I kid you not, like a couple months later, they were going for like 20. Even for like the not desirable ones, I was like, oh, like my soul. So I sold it to fund my E92. So I had a buddy at work who had a E92 supercharged, more of a SEMA car. But I was like, damn, that looks good. It's like the V8, everything. And so I called TC because he was kind of like my guiding light on like what's like reasonable for the BMW world. And he's like, don't do it. I have a guy in Ohio that just bought an F87 M2, so the next generation, and his wife's making him rid of his E92. So the car had 10,000 miles on it. It was like garage kept, Ohio, like just a mint condition. Already had double adjustable coilover kit on it. TC's like, just drive out, see if you like it, drive it home. And did that. Got the E92, like we always do. It was a great, perfect car that I turned into a hot piece of crap. Very fast. Like, modified it, so I was like, this is like a perfectly comfortable car, and I ruined that very quickly. And then eventually ran into some maintenance fees that kind of didn't justify keeping the car. I also wanted more power. I wanted to kind of see what more was out there, right? Because like the S65, it's a great engine, but it's kind of like a rotary where there's like no torque, low end. So everything's at like $8,000, which is awesome, super fun, but just like going up like, you know, like some tight turns on like Button Willow or like Streets of Willow, it's just like, you're kind of just like, you're like waiting for it, like you're full throttle, just waiting for the power to get there. Kind of got over that car, used that money for a down payment for this car, and you know, decided to just go for it because I heard the G80 platform was like amazing. It was fast. It was very different than older BMWs like an E36 or E46, E92 or E90X platform. And I kind of was having buyer's remorse with the E90 because like the F generation was so much better, turbocharged, a lot more torque, right? It just seemed like a lot of, that would have been a better choice at the time. Especially for a track car. So I bought this like an idiot, being like, I'm gonna turn this into a track car. So I bought a brand new BMW to eventually turn into a track car. So yes.
Have you done any modification besides, I mean, the tires I see is changed? But...
Yeah, the tires changed. Modifications so far in the car, yeah, no rear seats. Okay. So the crazy thing about this car is I can fit 19 by 11 wheels. And so I try to fit them in the rear of my car because usually I was using Supercar 3Rs, and in the wet, those things are basically a death wish. They're kind of like, I'm not sure if Hoosiers are that much worse, but they're pretty close. And so I ended up by taking the rear seats out just so I could actually fit the 19 by 11s in the rear. I want to say, unless I'm crazy, oh, I did mid pipes. So I have mid pipes, wheel studs. Right now, brake pads, I'm using the EBC RPX.
Okay, how convenient.
Yeah. How convenient, like totally not because I have to say that. Pads, and they're awesome. So that's it, and the car's like, besides that, I want to say like, stock. I always joke with people, I'm like, they're like, my car's stock. It's like, what does that really mean? It's like, I have all these mods to it, but it's like, there's no power. So it's stock, but yeah, just pads, wheel studs, wheels for track use, and then no rear seats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of the pads,
yeah,
I've never ran EBC personally. Yeah. How, which, they go by colors, right?
They go by colors, and then they have like their track only pad. Okay. So I'm a lunatic. So like, to give you an example, on Hawk, I use their DCT 60s on my street cars. I love hearing squealing, like I'm killing something all the time. And I like my brakes not to work till they're hot. So the RPX line is, I think, one under their top like Enduro series racing line. So these, you should not drive these on the street at all. That's a very bad option. But I work from home. I don't really drive the car that much. So it's like, drive it to the track, drive it home. But it's over their lines. It's like over their blue or reds or whatever. But I'm not super familiar with that ecosystem. So don't tell EBC.
But you overall like the EBC brake?
Oh, I love the EBC pads. I tried CSG pads. So I liked, actually, surprisingly, the OE pads on this thing were really good. Great OE pads, they just disintegrated. Like, I think I made 2 track days. I did like a Laguna Seca day and a Streets of Willow day, and there's like no pad left. They worked really well, but they just like disintegrated. And then I had some track days coming up, and so I tried the CSG pads. The CSG pads, CGS or CSG pads?
CSG.
CSG, those were, don't tell EBC, those were great pads also. Yeah. Like, those were phenomenal pads. And then I was able to work with my sponsor, Parsons Racing, to get some of his sponsorship, and he does like Trans Am driving, super amazing guy. And he was able to hook me up with EBC, and so now I get EBC pads. And so the EBC pads I like them better, actually. They're a little bit more bitey up top. But yeah, they can stop a 3,800 pound car going into a corner very fast, so yeah.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and I have BMC air filters.
Okay.
But like, I don't fucking know. Does that count? It depends who you're talking to. I guess. I don't know.
I don't know anything about this engine. Tell me about it.
So S58 is a powerhouse motor. You probably know a lot of like the Supras are running the B58. So BMW has their naming convention's a little interesting. B is for like their normal cars, and then S means they got the M treatment. Don't exactly know what they did for the S58 versus the B58. I can just tell you this: the M4 CSL, same engine, so M2, M3, M4, X3M, all same motor. From factory, the M4 CSL, I think Car and Driver dynoed it at like 630 wheel horsepower.
Jeez.
So same motor that they just toss in here. They just detuned it. Like, people, depends who you ask, I'm gonna get butchered for this, 2JZ replacement, right? So I think like Jackie Ding, awesome time trial guy, he has like, what is it, 7 horsepower tune on his. You have to unlock the ECU, 700 wheel horsepower. It's like 700, like, this is tune. Like, I think he might have a cooler, but like stock internal, like doesn't touch anything, just tune it, 700 horsepower. So this from factory, they said was supposed to make like 420 horsepower, 430 horsepower. IND dynoed their M2 and it just makes 450 wheel.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, so these things are underrated like BMW does. They make a crap ton of power. Compared from the last engine, so the F-Series engine, they add the maximum torque's about 1,000 RPM higher. So a lot of people comment on this car saying it doesn't feel as squirrely, doesn't feel as lively. And one of the reasons is they move the torque curve up so you can actually put down the power a little bit easier in the turns, right?
Yeah.
So everybody used to say if you get on the gas while turning the wheels, your car just like steps out.
Yeah.
This does do that. It just happens a little bit later.
Gotcha.
So you can actually get the power down in the corners a little bit better. But yeah, but these things are like, I think people, I could be wrong on like drag racing and stuff, like E85, they're making like 1,000 horsepower before they really have to touch components. It's like the M4 guy. It's insane, right?
Yeah. So on a stock form,
Yeah.
it makes about 450 to the wheel.
450 wheel. I haven't, so this is what IND reported. I don't want to be like, my car makes that. I know BMW underrates all their cars.
Yeah.
So it's like, this feels on the butt dyno like 420-ish. But like if I dynoed it on a good day, would 450 be realistic? Yeah, this thing freaking goes.
Yeah. And what's the weight on this car?
Let's not talk about, let's just go away, let's go away, let's think about that. So I weighed it for Beamer Challenge because this was the first time in Beamer Challenge we actually had this car. And so the question was like, oh, where do we class this car, right? And so the big thing is like power to weight ratio. So when we weighed it, I have an automatic transmission. It was like high 37s, low 38s. That being said, I have a whole conspiracy theory I can go into about why it weighs so much, but it's a heavy car. So I would say, they say that it can get from, if you do a manual, like 37.5, high in like high 38s.
Yeah.
Depending on how you spec it. If you do like the heads-up cockpit, you can get a moonroof on this. So this is carbon package car, so it comes with the carbon package seats, carbon package, or the carbon roof, sorry. So you do shave some weight on that. How much? I don't know.
It's a heavy car.
You need to remove the weight. So the thing is I don't know how BMW does this. To give you an example, like through Riverside, like I did a 119 Streets of Willow. It feels nimble. On any long sweeper, you're like, oh, this is like,
you feel the weight.
You feel the fucking weight. And that's why it's like, I'm like Streets of Willow, I'm just throwing into corners and just like you just need like 305 tires, as sticky as possible, ton of weight, just slam the horsepower and like, control the aiming with the rear.
Yeah.
But like Riverside, you're like, oh,
yeah.
like if this goes at like 100 miles per hour, like it's going, it's like that weight just like goes and you're just hopefully along for the ride.
All right. Oh, that's cool design there.
Yeah.
Is that for aerodynamics when you open the window?
That's probably because they were like, how do we shave as much weight off this chunky boy as possible?
That's not an OEM carpet, right?
No, that's Cocoa mats. I decide,
mats, yeah.
I do dumb things like buy nice mats.
Oh, it's really nice.
It's so nice, but it's like it adds weight, so like I take it out the track every time. I'm dumb, you know what I mean? That's basically it. And this is also an M Performance steering wheel, which delayed my car 2 weeks at the VEPC, so no, don't do port installed options, but it comes with like a little bit of carbon fiber, Alcantara.
Nice.
Does nothing. So these are the optional carbon bucket seats.
Nice.
Which are, I really enjoy them.
Yeah.
The only issue I have with them is they have the pass-through for the harness, but this doesn't open up, so you can't do a submersible. So I have no, because at first I was like, oh, that's for a submersible, and it's not at all. It just blocks, and you can't use a 6-point or 5-point because it mounts too high, so you'll still slide and whack yourself pretty good. So I'll have to switch those out. But
Well, you can always just drill a hole right
oh,
there.
oh no! Oh, you are a track guy like me. Oh no!
Is that a OEM belt?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
OEM belts, OEM seats. Yeah.
All the M colors on it, huh?
Yeah, it's a little bit much. You know what I mean? It's like, do we really need that much M? It's like, we get it. You know? Like, we get it. Like, nobody's like confused.
Actually, that brings me to a question.
Yeah.
Is the body panel same on the M2?
I'm not positive. I've seen like M240s, I think that they're called, on the street, and the car looks very, very similar.
Okay.
Very similar. So I'm not like I don't know for sure, but yeah. They don't. It doesn't look far off.
Okay. Well, if anyone knows, right?
Feel free to comment
below. Yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah, and I was bummed that I got an automatic, but like talking to my buddy, Jeff again, he has like I think the DCT and the M2.
Oh yeah.
And I remember we were going on the corkscrew in Laguna Seca, and he's like, what gears do you take it in? And I'm like, oh, my E92, I just like leave it in like 4th or 3rd, depending on my speed. And he's like, I go to 2nd to power out of it.
Yeah.
I was like, you know how much heel toe I'd have to do like going down the corkscrew to like nail that just to shift up real quick. And so I decided to go, this is a torque converter, there's the F, but I'll have to say on track, it's so nice.
This is a new era, you know?
Yeah, it's not the pure way. I miss like heel towing and like really masculine. When you really get that nice rev match, you're like, oh, it's like so good. Like I'm such a good driver. Like I miss that. Definitely the engagement, but everybody that I saw review the car was like the 8-speed is better match for the car.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the 8-speed automatic transmission is better match for the car. So I went with it. But part of me, if I had all the money in the world, I think I'd get like a manual one just to run for like the canyons or something, or like daily driving. But the 8-speed's been like great, no issues. And it's like this. I think the stock exhaust tip's a little bit big, but the stock exhaust, I was like looking, it's like already like 2.5 or 3 inches. From factory.
Yeah, it's not worth changing it out. Huh?
Yeah, so I left the cat back, but I have mid pipes now, which are like. That was one thing I really didn't like about the car is the muffled sound. They pump it in to the speakers. It's like that should be like a war crime, right? That should just like straight to jail, right? And so that really sucked. But I got the mid pipes, and that like if you have a G87, like do mid pipes, like holy shit, no check engine light. It actually sounds great. So I have the valves closed. Like startup's a little loud, but like I can drive like wife mode, right? Like you can drive around, it's not too loud, but you do valves open like on throttle, and it's just like it's pretty obnoxious.
Okay.
So for track use, so you can actually get. Well, that was one thing I was missing on track is like actually hearing, because I get wind buffeting. So if you remove the rear seats and the windows down, you actually get wind buffeting in the car, and it like whacks your helmet, so that's super fun. But you have a really hard time of like actually hearing what gear I'm in, because like when you're focused, you're not like, oh, am I 2nd or 3rd?
Right.
You kind of have a note, but you're kind of going off the sound of the car. So I got the mid pipes to actually hear where I am, like in the rev range on track, which I think will be like super helpful. I'll let you know after Laguna Seca this weekend. So.
Nice. Nice. This car did a 59, right?
Oh, this car. So this did a low. I want to say a low 58.
Okay.
That being said, and I just want to be. This is stock form. Their guy, like Toby from Studio RSR, awesome guy. He ran, I think, with basically springs and on the specs 4S tire, Michelin tire, and Beamer shine like 155.
Wow.
So it's like I'm also the worst button willow driver because I'm like it's not worth, you know what I mean? It's like I want to drive home. I'm not like a lunatic that's like jumping Phil Hill like a madman. That being said, I'm a slow button willow driver. I'm more of a slow steady on tracks. So but like there's guys that are doing like 55s, 54s in these at button willow, and like not heavily modified, which is insane.
When you did the 58, was that on stock tire?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay.
So like, and also it was like me. So this is another really weird thing I had with the car. Going from the E92, the feeling of the car, everybody talks about this, like the actual feeling, the feedback you're getting from kind of like, but how the car talks to you is completely different than the E92. The E92 had all SPL arms, is really communicative. Like I could kind of tell from my butt, like how the car wanted to rotate. This felt like a video game, which is super unnerving, right? Because you're like, I have grip, but how much do I really have? And when you're going into like, caught in corners or like sweeper, you kind of want to, you know what I mean? Like you kind of, or you're going through the S's through bus stop. Like you don't want to be like, let's just see how much grip I have, right? Like, I'm sure there's people like that. I'm like, I just bought this brand new BMW. I'm not willing to owe BMW Financial that much money just to see, you know, the times. So I did a semi-private day at Chuckwalla, and I can kind of feel it more now, but the feeling from a very analog car to this car is like exceptionally different. I'll say at the limit, it's a very reassuring car, but it was also very bizarre because I went from a naturally aspirated, high revving V8 that made 350 wheel horsepower and like 250 pounds of torque on like a good day to like, you know, 450 wheel horsepower, 400 pounds of torque, anytime you want. Also, I added 600 pounds to the car, and the handling was completely different. That it was a very different experience. So that's one thing I wish that they kind of, I'm not sure if BMW could have done, I'm not sure if that's a mechanical thing, but it took me I did a semi-private day at Chuckwalla just to slowly push the car lap after lap to actually get that comfortability of like, where's that grip limit? And how does the car talk to me? And once I did that, it like opened up the car to me.
Gotcha.
Just because it was, you know, it's like a mental thing, you know? I'm sure you've spun out on track. The next couple laps, you're like, you kind of like, you back it up because you're like mentally, you're like, oh,
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, that was my thing where it's like the unknowing of where that is wasn't reassuring to do.
What's this thing?
I have no idea. Probably a grounding point for the battery.
Yeah, it looks like a grounding point, but this is painted, this is not. Well, it's
no
not
idea.
important, but.
So it's funny that this is basically an M4 parts car. It uses the same suspension, it uses the same engine, it uses like basically almost all the not all the M4 parts, but they got a 2 series, and they're like, let's just throw. It's kind of like the 1M from the previous the
first generation.
Yeah, the E82M was an E92 parts car. Right. They just took as many parts, threw it on a 135, and they're like, here you go. Which is kind of like the 2 series recipe, which is kind of beautiful. And so this car is just like, M3, M4 suspension. These are like the strut bars, the motor's the same, like the control arms, everything is like M3, M4, and they just compact it in this package. So it's truly a baby M3, M4.
Smaller, more nimble.
Not lighter though. Yeah. I have a conspiracy theory on that. Yeah. I think, so M3, M4 came with lithium ion battery. This comes with a normal battery.
I see.
Okay, that came with forged wheels. This came with cast wheels. I think they could have made this 150, 200 pounds lighter, but they didn't want to compete in the marketplace for the M3, M4.
Yeah.
Which doesn't, and like also they have aluminum doors, I have steel doors. So there is ways that they could have shaved weight. I'm not sure if it's a cost savings thing. I'm not sure if they didn't want to cannibalize M3, M4 things, but like, you know, I could take the lithium ion back, put on forged wheels, and this thing drops what, like 10 pounds a wheel, plus like 80 pounds.
Okay.
Plus remove the rear seats, that's another 40 pounds. We're down 120 pounds. Plus you're doing the carbon pack, you know what I mean? Like there's ways to like really like start getting like 100 pounds. Will this car ever be a 3,000 pound car? Like, unless you're a lunatic and you're shaving carpet, probably not.
That's what you sound like you're gonna do.
Shh, don't tell my wife. No, that would be crazy. This is a daily car.
What's next for you with this?
Yeah, so I'm running Beamer Challenge B3. I'm also getting married next year, which is awesome. Unfortunately, it takes away from my car fund. So realistically, I take a fun time trial way too seriously. So realistically, I'm not gonna do much of this car this year, probably next year. After that, I'm gonna probably move up to B2, which gives me some points, which would be coilover suspension, so probably like MCS JRZ Pros. At that point, probably a little bit of aero bits, like a front lip. So this car has corner entry understeer a little bit. It just plows a little bit. It eventually straightens up and it gives it to you, but kind of going into a corner, there's like a little bit of vagueness and then it kind of gets there. So I need to add a little bit of like front downforce or just something to get the front a little bit more planted. So I'm actually doing the Versus hood thing where they're gonna probably cut out this right here so the air can actually flow out and increase some front end lift. Okay. So probably after that, lithium ion battery, bucket seats. So I'm trying to get my fiance into actually driving. So I have my Recaros for my E92. Oh, you got to get her involved. So actually you can pay to do it more, you know what I'm saying? You got to get them addicted also.
What's her name?
Huh?
What's her name?
Fatima.
Fatima.
Yeah. So she did
Fatima, if you're watching.
Yeah, shh. Oh, shit. Damn it. Think about that.
Please enjoy.
Yeah, please enjoy. No, but I want to do bucket seats and everything, and that's like another, 30 pounds a seat. Yeah. So it's like, dude, you can get 200 pounds out of this car, which is still, by the way, a 3,500 pound car, which is not like a light car by any means, but like it makes a difference. Yeah,
I mean, the seat is only $20, Fatima.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, it's like the tune for this car is like $30. You know what I mean? Like my titanium exhaust is like what, 100, right, guys?
That's right.
Yeah,
It's a really good hobby.
Yeah, what's that thing that I just found? They just gave it to me, right? I don't know. They just gave it to me. It's so weird. Yeah, so I think the next for the car is like, trying to give it a diet. I think the power is good for me now. Fix myself with the car, like kind of driver's mod a lot more, because there's so much potential in this car. There's so much potential in this car that I'm not extracting. There's still like, so much, like I look at my aim data and it's just like, there's inconsistencies. It's not like I'm nailing every lap. So it's like, what can I do to become a better driver? And then also tire money.
I think you're having a really good time with
Oh,
this.
it's so much fun. Oh, it's so much fun. So stupid. So stupid. So stupid. Well, to give you an example, my buddy Jeff Pestner, he had to modify his last year's M2 like pretty heavily to get to a 120, 119-inch Streets of Willow. This is like wheels, tires, no rear seats. And like, I'm not a good driver. You know what I mean? Even that lap, I'm looking, like I almost slid out twice. You know what I mean? It's like, there's probably like a low 19 in there. Like I feel like you're a better, like on a good day for me, and that's like, I'm not the best driver. So yeah, like this car has a ton of potential. It's just kind of matching it, but yeah.
What's up with that, Jeff?
Yeah, what's up with that, Jeff? I got the better M2. All the M2 dudes are gonna like roast me. Oh God, I'm joking, by the way.
So JP, who is this?
That's my dad. So that's my dad with his E39 M5 going down the corkscrew at Laguna Seca with BMW Car Club of America. And I want to say it's Got Milk Photography that took that photo. And so I have a little bit of, I don't say a shrine, but, a little props to the guy that got me my most expensive addiction. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, this is his old Bavaria, an appraisal from Hillenwagen, which was or Hill and Bond, which was a appraisal restoration shop in Southern California area. And he had an old Bavaria, which he reminded me all the time that he wished he never sold. And that was his auto shop, Omega Motorsports, where they're doing work on a 1M and some Mercedes. I know. I know. Oh, it kills me. Kills me inside. I'm like, oh, you actually got to touch one.
Hey, what's going on here?
So we all have fantasies, right? Like, it doesn't matter where you get your appetite as long as you eat at home. And so, like, I don't know, like sometimes you drive a BMW, but you might be like interested in other brands, and you wouldn't tell the other brands that. But, like if, I don't know, if Ferrari stopped by, like a GTO or something, you might drive it. See what it's like. So, love Ferrari, love Porsche. I think the older I got, I used to be a diehard BMW guy where I was like, BMW's the best. And it was kind of like that rhetoric, but like now it's like, dude, every brand makes amazing cars. Yeah. Like Civic Type R, like there's so many, like S2K, like there's so many amazing cars to like lock myself down to one brand. But like my dad, I think would roll over in his grave if he like saw me driving Mercedes. So that's the only one we gotta be like kind of Mercedes. Sure, I'll get a lot of love for that. And then but like Ferrari one day. I think the next step is, I was like always old BMWs. Now it's like a newish BMW. It's like the budget M car, right? So just to be clear. And then after this one, it's like Porsche and I don't know, Ferrari one day would be nice.
You have this beautiful BMW. Do you use your blinkers?
Oh, all the time.
You have moved from E92 to G87 M2. What's your pick?
Can I ask follow-up questions?
Sure.
Straight driving experience or like overall better car?
Let's say you have both. You have to keep one.
Right now, G87, I can see there's a time in the near future where it's E92.
Okay. Yeah. NA versus turbo.
I mean, if you're talking about the same power, NA.
Any shout-outs?
Shout-outs to Parsons Racing for helping me with this car.
Very smooth.
Very smooth, yeah. It's like totally subtle. I want to apologize to everybody that sees me on the streets. I'm just super lazy, and I go to the track so often that I leave my numbers on it. I don't think I'm fast. I think it's obnoxious. I hate myself for it all the time, but I really hate putting like the tape on my car every track day. And I go like once or twice a month. I know I'm a douche. I get it. I get it. It's the worst.
You use a blinker, so
I do use my. That's one thing that drives me insane when people don't use their blinker, because it's like, it's like not giving a point by on track.
Yeah.
Like I'm in open passing groups, I still give a point by, because like what you think I'm gonna do versus what I'm gonna do is like, anyways, yeah. So shout out to Parsons Racing. Shout outs to SoCal Drivers Club. Shout out to Sub 2 Club for coming out and seeing me. And check out my, also shout out to Revit Tech, which is my IT consulting company. So check it out if you need IT services.
IT consulting, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, very cool.
Yeah. So I do IT consulting for small, medium businesses, startups, all that stuff, specifically in the motorsports world. So I work for like Speed Ventures. I have some auto shops in LA that I like do like tech stuff for. So if you need any technology help, let me know.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, man.
Hopefully, I'll see you again, and
for
with your wife, and hopefully, you guys are enjoying this hobby together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, me more than her. Like I want her to like kind of like it.
Yeah.
Because then, like, if she wants one also, then it's like I'm going into poverty.
Well, you can buy another car then.
Oh god. Too many cars. Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much, bud.
All right, man.
Have a good one.